It's a little creepy. Again and again things happen that move the whole world. And a little later it turns out that something like this was already seen in The Simpsons years or decades ago. Today we want to introduce you to exactly such predictions that show that The Simpsons were unusually often right. Hello and welcome to the followers of Wikivedia Plus in this new video on our channel. Let's tell everything from now on. So let's get started. Let's start with a Simpsons prediction that was unusually specific. And it was in a Simpsons episode in 1996 about the hip-hop group Cypress Hill. A rap band that actually had success in the gang scene in Los Angeles and then became more and more famous. In the Simpsons episode it came to a pretty bizarre scenario in which the hip-hop group in the Marijuana Rush gave an appearance. But not in front of hip-hop fans, but in a classic concert hall. And they played together with the renowned London Symphony Orchestra. When the episode came out, the singers made fun of The Simpsons and could not take the appearance of their band in the series seriously. Strangely enough, it just happened that a few weeks ago the exact same symphony orchestra in London wanted to perform something modern and was looking for a hip-hop band for that. So they turned to Cypress Hill 28 years later, who said yes there. And then the band really appeared in London and performed with the same orchestra in the same hall as it was predicted with The Simpsons a long time ago. And in fact the most curious thing is that the organizer of the orchestra, who requested the band Cypress Hill for the concert, knew absolutely nothing about the Simpsons episode. So the makers of the series once again predicted the future truthfully. Another prediction from 2008 seemed completely utopian at the time of the broadcast. In the episode, This Bee That I Mean Is Called Monty, is the US billionaire and entrepreneur Richard Branson to see how he relaxed in his own spaceship in space as an astronaut. Richard Branson was never in space at the time and private space travels were still completely unimaginable at the time. After the broadcast of the episode, Richard Branson explained several times that he really wanted to fly into space. But it was completely unclear whether and when the billionaire would actually succeed. In 2021, The Simpsons prediction was then really true. Richard Branson flew into space with a spaceship as the first space tourist and thus made The Simpsons prophecy true. It is even more unbelievable that the events from The Simpsons episode Fresh Fish with 3 Eyes from the second season of 1991 actually came true. In this episode, Bart and Lisa go fishing at a lake near the nuclear power plant and catch a 3-eyed fish. They are watched by a journalist, and because a 3-eyed fish is of course completely absurd, the journalist reports about it and the unusual fish is known worldwide. Later it turns out in the episode that the toxic waste of the nuclear power plant is to blame for the mutation. What was only a gag with The Simpsons was in 2011, so 20 years after the broadcast of the episode, but 1-to-1 to reality. In that year, anglers caught a mutated fish in a reservoir in Argentina with 3 eyes. And because such a catch in reality was of course just as special as in the series, the fish became known worldwide. And even there the parallels did not end. Because in fact the lake was also located in Argentina at a nuclear power plant, where it was finally found that contaminated cold water was the cause of genetic defects in fish. Although again and again really unbelievable things from The Simpsons later became true, there were also some predictions of The Simpsons that were absolutely spectacular. For example, in the episode Lisa's Wedding of 1995, where The Simpsons visit a storyteller. This takes a look into the future and reports that Lisa will marry in 2010. In the episode, the events around the wedding in 2010 can also be seen. And the famous Big Ben in London at that time no longer has a classic dial, but a digital time display. Of course, this has never happened. Also, a real horror foreshadowing from the same episode was fortunately not true. In 2010, Bart and Ralph meet on Ned Flanders, who has become blind at this point in time. According to the episode, at the beginning of the 2000s, when these treatments were just popular, they had eye lasers. And it turned out that all patients lose their eyesight after 10 years. In reality, however, it turned out that the eye laser has no unexpected consequences. Another false foreshadowing concerns the American actress Delta Burke, who was very popular in the USA, especially in the 80s and 90s. In the episode, Crimes Are Not Worth It, from 1991, a storyteller says, who helps Chief Wiggum in a missing case to the police chief, that the actress and her husband would soon separate. Chief Wiggum is very upset about it and says that the two of them seemed so happy. In real life, Delta Burke was married once or twice at that time. But even today, 33 years after the episode, the actress and her husband are happily married in reality. As you can see, The Simpsons are not always right, but still frighteningly often. Which hit safety the series has with its foreshadowing about Donald Trump is almost already scary. Because in fact, The Simpsons always had events with the politicians that later became real. The most spectacular and unbelievable foreshadowing was already in the episode, Bart's View into the Future. Here Lisa becomes president of the USA, and it is mentioned that she takes over the office as a successor to Donald Trump. He was known to be president in 2017. Even when he was president, The Simpsons met a few foreshadowing that became true. For example, one in Trump's bedroom saw a free card from the prison. At that time, there was no word at all that Trump could be accused or convicted. But in the end, he was really convicted in court. And Trump just barely escaped prison. Donald Trump even wanted to take part in an episode himself and synchronize himself, like many other celebrities. However, The Simpsons didn't want to offer him a platform and therefore refused. The bizarre thing is what happened after the foreshadowing. Because one of The Simpsons writers remembered what the main character of the show said to the team when he heard that Trump would like to take part. And he jokingly said that he would only work with Trump if they made an episode in which he would turn off Tingle Tangle Bob. It didn't come to that, but shortly after Trump's request, it came to the following: the secret confession to a scene that shockingly has many parallels to the real Trump assassination. Instead of Trump, however, Lisa stood on a podium. As with the Trump attack, the sniper was also standing right here on the neighboring building, and had bizarrely almost the same distance to the president as the real attacker. Also, the way Lisa escaped the shot, just because she turned her head and body away at the exact moment, is terrifyingly similar to the real Trump assassination. The follow-up was even so similar to the real assassination that the Channel 4 broke out, when the follow-up should be shown shortly after the real assassination. Of course, it is also interesting what we could expect from The Simpsons in the near future. Therefore, we want to briefly go back to 3 incredible predictions that could become reality in this year or in the very near future. First of all, let's stay with the topic of presidency. After the current US President Joe Biden has withdrawn his candidacy, the Vice President Kamala Harris is now running for the Democrats. In 2000, however, she showed no ambitions in this direction and worked as a normal state attorney. In the 24-year-old Simpsons episode, Bart's View into the Future, in which Lisa, as mentioned, becomes president of the USA, you can still find a possible prediction that Kamala Harris could become president. But we don't just mean that Lisa and Kamala are both female. As a result, Lisa wears a purple suit and a pearl necklace as president. The incredible thing is, this outfit is almost identical to the outfit that Kamala Harris herself wears in public again and again. If you didn't believe us, just compare it yourself. The pearl necklace and the color of the suit are unusually close together. Another, then completely unbelievable prediction can also be found in the same episode. Homer and Marge eat virtual food here. They actually chew on cables while wearing VR glasses. And this is how a virtual taste experience is simulated. In fact, research in this area, in the real world, is already quite far. Through VR glasses and accessories, the research Project Nourished already manages today that you chew on tasteless objects from the 3D printer and the user is impressed by artificial smells, images, sounds and surfaces, that he is eating a gourmet menu. By the way, this is not a game, because if the technology is sophisticated, you should be able to eat healthy food such as vegetables with their help, while you have the feeling of eating fatty fast food. Also, the so-called baby translator, a device that can translate the babbling of babies into normal language, seemed completely unbelievable in 1992, when the episode of The Missing Half-Brother was released. By now there is already an app with the Cry Translator, which can analyze screams and noises of babies, and then shows whether the baby, for example, is hungry, has pain, or is tired. A whole translation is not yet possible, but thanks to artificial intelligence, the technology is developing more rapidly. If you want to see more Simpsons predictions that should be true by 2024, be sure to watch our extra video on the forecasts for this year. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.